Okay, the first of the 7 patterns. I used to call it spinal rocking, and over the last couple of years I've added a few components to it. So there is a spinal rocking component, but there are also several body rolling components that I've added to it. So I'm just going to start out. There are 4 components that are included here, and I'm just going to show them to you. I'll show them to you in the order that I actually do them in. All right? Okay, the first one, it was the original spinal rocking pattern. Just looks like this. Okay? Now originally I thought that it was really just working on the lumbar spine, and it is playing a big role in getting the lumbar spine loosened up, but there are other pieces that are going on at the same time. The sacrum, the thoracic spine, and even if you get it way up on your shoulders, you're going to get a little cervical spine activity going too. But anyway, grab behind your knees, rock your hips up so that they're up to about 180 degrees like that. And you're just looking to get a nice supple extension through your back as you're doing this. I usually recommend doing 20 of those. You know, but if you, in the beginning, if you start out doing it and you find yourself out of breath after 5 or something like that, you know, go right, just stop for a minute, catch your breath, then go back and, you know, do 5 more, stop, catch your breath. In any event, it's not about counting how many we're doing. It's about when do you feel that feeling of supple extensibility. And you kind of have to get that figured out, but when I'm on the mat working with you, we speed that process up. So anyway, this is just spinal rocking right here, okay? You want to look at it from the side. It's going to look like this. All right. That's the first component of this. I call that it's the lumbar component. All right. So the next component that I work on is the thoracic spine. All right, and I switched to a basketball. It's kind of got most of the air out of it. And we're going to switch from a rocking kind of a thing, like we were just doing, to a rolling pattern. All right, and the rolling pattern, you get this thing back between your shoulder blades, okay? And to get the rolling pattern going, what you do is you're either going to lift your hips and kind of push backwards, and you let your head drop over the ball until it touches the mat. So we're kind of rolling through the thoracic spine. And since the thoracic spine is a little more kyphotic, this actually is a great stretch for the thoracic spine, okay? Like this. I'll show you that from the side. Okay, it's getting like this. It's just your body weight over that ball. You just rock, you roll through that thoracic area. Like this. Okay? And don't be surprised if you hear some vertebrae readjust while you're doing it. That's pretty common. Okay, so we got the lumbar spine, we get the thoracic spine. The third area, or the third component, is the sacrum. Okay? The way I get to the sacrum is I'm going to rock back And I'm going to put that ball right on my sacrum, okay? And I'm going to start out flexing and extending over the ball. And again, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it until I feel that supple extensibility in my sacrum. Or loosening up, okay? So then I move from this bilateral pattern to an alternating pattern. And now this introduces a little bit of side bending and rotation to the flexion extension that I was doing in the beginning. Okay? Kind of get loosened up here, and now we're gonna get a little more movement into this. We're actually going to get some side bending and some rotation into the pattern. Okay? Again, you're going to do this. You don't need to count repetitions. You're just looking for that supple extensibility. Alright? So now we got lumbar spine, thoracic spine, and sacrum. The last piece is really the cervical spine. Alright? I'm going to show you the cervical spine piece. I'm going to do it in a reverse pattern though, so you can see what's going on. We're going to get this ball behind our head. And what this does is this stabilizes the cervical spine in flexion. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use rotation and side bending of our cervical spine while we're stabilized in flexion. Just looks like this. It's rotation. If this causes pain, stop doing it. Okay? The second thing we're going to do in flexion is we're going to do side bending. Side bending looks like this. And if you want, you can, when you get to the physiologic barrier or the first barrier, you can put your hand in here and just create a little bit of a challenge to that barrier. If I was going to do that with rotation, I'd rotate to the barrier and I'd give a little push, just a little overstretch. Rotate to the barrier, a little bit of overstretch. Okay? Rotate, a little bit of overstretch. That's not necessary, but you can add it to this. Then if I was going to do that in the side bending, I might add, I'd side bend to the barrier, a little bit of overstretch. Side bend to the barrier, a little bit of overstretch, okay? Side bend to the barrier, a little overstretch. Again, you don't need to do that, but you can include that if you want, otherwise you're just going to be side bending like this, okay? Alright. So that was in flexion, cervical flexion. Now I'm going to move into a neutral position and do those same two rotations. Alright? So here I'm in flexion. I'm just going to come over that ball a little bit so I'm looking straight up. Now I'm in a neutral position. There's the rotation. And you can only rotate to your own, to the first barrier. Okay? But if I wanted to get past that, you could do the same thing. A little overpressure. a little overpressure if I wanted to. And that's the rotational component in the neutral position. If I want to side bend, I can move like this. I'm just moving to the first barrier. If I want to get past that, I can pull a little bit in the side bending. Alright, so now I get rotation and side bending in the neutral position. Now I'm going to roll farther over the ball so that my cervical spine moves into extension. I'm going to do the same rotation and side bending. I'm going to rotate. You can only rotate to the barrier. Then if you want to challenge the barrier, you give a little challenge, a little push, like that. Okay. Nice. Now if I want to side bend, it looks like this. If I want to challenge the barrier, I can challenge the barrier like this. That's the side bending. Okay? So there you've got spinal rocking and spinal rolling. We got the lumbar spine first, thoracic spine second, sacrum third, cervical spine fourth. Give that a try.